Okay. Hey everyone. Welcome to another stream. Today we're picking up where we left off last time. Kind of. Since we're going to work on the browser extension automation. Browser extension automation. Okay. Let me just check if, yeah, my audio should be working. Let's fix the screen. Oh no. Not sure my correct screen is working, showing. There we go. Okay. Let me just fill the screen for y'all. There we go. Show y'all the terminal. Splendid. All right. So I have been working on this outside of the stream. Mostly on little things. The Chrome browser extension FFI, which is quite tricky in the sense that to interact with anything browser extension related in Gleam, we need to write FFI for it. So we have this huge, pretty huge package that just wraps Chrome related APIs, such as tabs, right? Runtime to send messages between the browser extension and the browser. So all of that is tricky. Not tricky, but it doesn't really feel like we're writing productive code yet. We're just writing wrappers. So, the professional that I am, I wrote a little plan for today. Most likely we won't achieve everything on here. If, I'll be happy if we achieve half of this. But I really wanted to reduce the Chrome FFI, actually go back on what we might have wrapped already, so that we don't have, hundreds of lines of code. I mean, just look at, just look at all of this GPT generated wrapper code of raw JavaScript. Feels pretty yucky, to be honest. So instead, I really want to just focus on what we need, right? So that we actually know. Like, for example, in tabs, you have this huge tab object. Like, we're gonna need a fraction of the properties in here, let's be honest, right? We're gonna need active, ID, maybe index, and the URL. Like, let's be honest, that's gonna be it. Maybe status. But we have all of this code to translate between Gleam JavaScript to this FFI JavaScript and back, and yeah, it's all just noise, right? So, having said that, let's get to work. Having said that, I'm actually just gonna go back on what I just said. because to know what kind of FFI we want or and need, what I also wanted to do is kind of model, at least in code, what the API, if all of this is going to be like usable and done, is going to look like, right? Since it's in such an early stage, like everything's up for grabs, right? Regarding API. And there are really not simple but important questions that we haven't answered yet. For example, right, do we spawn an actor and then each actor manages a WebSocket, or do we have one big server or WebSocket server that the actor hooks into? We just give the actor a server URL, right? Those are unanswered questions that we should answer beforehand and code up like a minimal working workflow or data flow by launching a browser, setting up a server with a WebSocket, and then sending some information from the actor through the WebSocket to the browser extension, and just having something like at least console logged. That would be really dang cool as a goal or result. Right. Okay. I already started some of this. I've created some more documentation. So all of these issues and open questions that are still not answered, right? I actually already found a good solution to one of those problems, right? How do we serialize references from Erlang to JavaScript? So just an example what this means. If you have here's what I'm kind of writing non-existent code, but code that I would like Spider to end up looking as, right? So we launch a server, we launch a session. A session would be an actor, and then we create it. Right? It's very playwright, puppeteer like in this way, and but yeah, this doesn't have to look like this, right? We could alternatively. Sorry, I need to set up my microphone another way. It's blocking my keyboard. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So this could also look like this. Like V or I don't know. So this could also just be this. So this would spawn actor and WebSocket. Right. But then we would have a WebSocket for every, or a server for every actor. And that doesn't sound very performant. So I think I've already kind of answered the question to myself, right? We're going to want a server that we can communicate through, but multiple. If we had 3 different browser instances and sessions on one server, we would only spawn one server and just have multiple WebSocket connections. Okay, so that answers that. Okay. Then there's also the question of references, right? What is this? Would this even be necessary? Like, I suppose this would just be a process. Like, if session is an actor, a supervised actor, then would page be a process, right? That we send messages to, or not? I don't know yet. I don't know. Yeah. And then also the question is, do we want everything like the API of our package of Spider? It feels odd to say to use Spider Server, even though Spider Server gives us the reference to the session, right? I think more intuitive would be to just have Spider, or I don't know, right? Do we want everything to be in here or not? Like this would obviously look cleaner, right? And then Spider Core would just contain the interaction with a session once you have the server running. Because the server could also be running on another domain or a VPS. And then on yet another VPS, you just connect to it. Yeah, I'm rambling, but these are important questions, right? Like obviously in Gleam, we do have the advantage of refactors being pretty nice compared to other languages and ecosystems, since we would just iterate until it compiles. But nevertheless, I want to get this at least tangentially correct. Um, I think to start, we're just gonna do this because server is just kind of the Erlang base for us, right? Everything Erlang related or Erlang target related, because Spider extension is a browser extension, so it's going to be JavaScript. Core should be agnostic, target agnostic, like it should compile to JavaScript and Erlang. And then we have Spider.js, which are just utilities and Chrome wrappers for Spider extension. And then we have Spider Server. But in the future, we could make it so Spider Server actually is split up into Spider Server and something else. Which, yeah, we haven't found a name yet. Okay. But I think this would be a nice API. Again, this might not all be necessary, like this assignment, but we're gonna figure that out later. Okay. So this would only be useful once we set up communication and we have a way of passing actions from the server to the browser extension to then execute. But obviously, they're going to be very basic APIs, such as creating a tab, navigating to a URL, and then getting an element and then maybe clicking it. So this would just be the search bar on google.com, right? So having that as a not MVP, but like a prototype would be cool. Okay. So let's do it. Server. So this portion is just going to be a whole bunch of code stealing, basically, right? Uh, since in Luster and Wisp there are already pretty cool examples of working with WebSockets, especially Luster. So let's check out one of the examples. Because for server components, you actually it connects to a WebSocket and then serializes the events and data through a WebSocket, which it then sends to the edge, like to the front end, right? So we have loop, chat, socket. You have an instantiation. You have a WebSocket route. This one, serve chat, which instantiates a WebSocket, which it initializes, has a handler for each incoming message that comes in. So yeah, we're basically just gonna do a whole bunch of copy pasting right now. Okay. Now also we are gonna want to test this, obviously. Now I'm not sure. To be completely honest, I think it would almost make sense to have a dedicated spider_testing package or Gleam app. Just because we have so many, a couple moving parts. Because all of these parts need to come together for Spider to even work, right? You need a browser with the extension, you need the server and the WebSocket, and then the actor as the middleman. So, I might set up a Spider testing package which we can run different scenarios in as a sort of scratch pad. All right. Less talking, more gleaming. Spider testing. Or Spider dev. Like, yeah, development. No. Let's do spider testing. Testing. So many options. Testing. Okay. So, actually, I just remembered. This is completely wrong. I totally forgot about the dev directory. Dev directory. That's the one. Where you, can just sort of acts as a scratch pad. Oh. My TypeScript pilled mind just came through. Okay. So when we run this, hello, and we do spider server, Gleam dev, it should spider server dev. My bad. Yeah, we just get a hello, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna have a server, which is just standard Wisp and Mist. which will then do some testing with the WebSocket and see if we connect in the browser extension to the WebSocket and send something over. Yeah. So Wisp, Misp, Wisp, Misp, I think. It's a bit, where is the luster example? Right here. Yeah, Mist, Gleam, HTTP. Where is the... Oh, it doesn't even have... Oh, that's crazy. It doesn't even have Wisp. I did not expect that. How? What is Mist then? That's pretty crazy to me. Oh, I thought Wisp is the browser, the web server, but I guess Wisp is just a yeah, it's a framework on top of Mist or something similar, I assume. Okay, that's good to know. I actually didn't know that. Did not know that. And since our WebSocket is gonna be very bare bones, like we don't actually need a web server, right? We just need a WebSocket connection. I think this should be fine to just use this. Yeah, okay, then let's do it. We're just gonna install Mist and copy paste some code. Don't mind me. Okay. Okay, spider server dev. We're just straight up gonna do this. Okay, we do need some Erlang and OTP. Always good. Then we need to... Oh god. I've never understood when... Yeah, sometimes it's weird how it doesn't show you the correct import. Import recommendations. I don't know what this is about. See? Doesn't show me connection. It's weird. Type request or request. Oh wait, no, this is Gleam HTTP. My bad. Whoa, what did I do? Can it import request? No, it can't. I'm so confused. Okay, Gleam HTTP request dot request. So is response data custom? No, it's not. See? Maybe because I'm in a like monorepo. Maybe that's messing up the LSP. Not sure, to be honest. Okay, and then we need response as well. I thought. Okay, I didn't think this would be the bottleneck. Oh, it's a dedicated. Package. Okay. Serve chat. Serve WebSocket. Function serve WebSocket. So request is going to be the same type. Hello, Barry. Glad to have you on stream. And yeah, this is just going to initialize a WebSocket. Init sockets, close sockets. We have loop. She says a code action. Generate function. Oh, this is cool. Because... Oh, this is cool because it actually gives you all of the arguments. Thank you, Jack. Well, I assume that was Jack. Yep, Gleam streams are a rarity. But I'm trying to change that. Okay, close sockets. That shouldn't be the hard part. Okay, it just deregisters. Oh, so this is just if we wanted to do anything when it closes. Socket closed. But actually, like, we don't want to do anything with the socket right now, so that's fine. And it wants nil. Okay. Loop sockets. Right, this is going to be the core logic. So let's just quickly do the initialization, which I don't think we have anything to initialize, but I could be wrong. Now, where does WebSocket come from? WebSocket.WebSocket connection. I don't see any WebSocket though. So this just omits the... Are you intending to show something right now? I just see a static page with pub type tab. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I think my... One second. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That's very unfortunate. I guess I've just been rambling and you guys haven't been seeing what I'm coding. Okay, it seems to be showing in my OBS right now. So that should be cool. I'm gonna have it open on the side and just check in if my cursor is moving. Because I restarted it at the beginning. But yeah. Thank you. Cool. Anyways, where were we? Actually, I think last stream or 2 streams ago, the first like 15 minutes, my mic was muted. So, you know, I'm still learning. Okay. Let's go. So close socket, we don't need to do anything right now. We are gonna do something here in the future though. With sending a message to an actor that is receiving and sending the actions, if that makes sense. If not, don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. For 5 years and you still do this. Yeah, I only have so much. Obviously, you know, I want to talk and do stuff. I can't look at my OBS every 2 seconds. I guess that's why people usually have moderators. But we're not quite there yet, so that's fine. All right. So this is interesting. This is mist.websocket connection, and this is websocket.websocket connection. And this was code generated by the code action. So does that mean we found a bug in the code action? Right? If I do loop socket and it generates a function, this is generated correctly, but this isn't. So that's interesting. We're probably gonna file a bug live on stream. Hmm. If this is correct. Right. So let's do that later in the stream. But I'm just gonna note that down. Um, yeah, I mean, I copy pasted all of the code. It's not. I don't think it's re-exported. Maybe in the. Okay. To be fair, I don't know anything about code actions, how they work under the hood or anything. So I don't know what this might be caused by. It might be because of the way it gets the type information from the underlying AST or something. I don't know. If that sentence even made sense, but it clearly doesn't work for this. So I'm just gonna um create issue bug report issue with Gleam code action generate function for Wisp WebSocket handlers. WebSocket instead of Mist. All right. Moving on. I just noticed this is totally the wrong place to put this code. This is gonna be in the server and not the. See? And now my screen has frozen again. Dang it. And now it works again. Okay, so that's gonna be fun to, figure out later with Stack Overflow. Anyways. So all of this needs to be in this module. And then in this module, we just want to call the start function. So this would be start. And then we wouldn't actually. Yeah, we would want to return the actor. Yes. Server. And then we would want to return the server. And then actually do this here. Gleam process, Gleam Erlang process. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So we now return the actor. So we can just say let server is server dot start. I hope we can remove the public. Yes, we can. Okay. Pretty cool. Okay. What else? What else? Now we need to initialize the WebSocket. I guess we could collect a list of what's it called? Collect a list of sessions that have been started. What do they do? Serve chunk, blah blah blah, init. Where's the init? Oh, it just initializes it with nothing. Oh, this is the wrong. Yeah, I was here. So init chat sockets. So is this called per connection? I assume. Yes, because this is a WebSocket connection. Makes sense. So I'm just realizing that I don't know that much about WebSockets and how they work. So I'm wondering how this works. I guess we have an ID that is used to identify, like the PID from the actor connecting to this, would have an ID that it would then associate with a browser instance that this actor controls. Okay, so we also still need a message type for this WebSocket, which ideally would be in Spider Core, so that we have a unified message interface between the server and the browser extension, so that we can just match on the message and we guarantee handling on all sides. All right. Okay, let's just start a server. We're not going to do anything with it just yet. We're just going to start it and work our way forwards. Right, so this is working. This isn't doing anything. Like, we can't even... This doesn't even serve any HTML. This is just going to return 4. Right? Which is correct based on this code. So now we need a client. Someone has to connect to this WebSocket. Now that someone is the browser extension. Right. So what we could quite easily actually do is just write the code to connect to localhost 1234. Yeah, let's do that. So in the Spider extension, which I think now also has a watch command, so that I don't have to build it every 2 seconds. Right? I can say build watch. Perfect. So this seems to just be a path that is incorrect in tabs FFI, which I think I just moved to lib, which I did not move to lib. Did I really remove the make option message? Was I that stupid? I guess I was. Oh, I wasn't. It's in runtime now. It's an odd place, but okay. I'm just gonna input this and ignore that that happens. Okay, that's fine. Okay, success. So we will be able to just refresh this and it should give us the, you know, output from, if I switch tabs, it returns a response. So this isn't anything new. This was from last stream. I just moved around the code a bit. So cool. Very nice. Now the hard part. A WebSocket. So I think first things first, we just get rid of this noise, right? We don't want to print anything right now. We don't want to do anything right now. Right. I mean, we can be like, hey, this is a spider. Just to have some acknowledgement for the presence of this browser extension. Right. Hey, I'm just in the background. I'm reading the docs for Selector, but haven't done much Gleam. Do you have a 30-second primer for an Erlang users? What exactly do you mean by Selector? Do you mean in the Gleam Erlang package, or do you mean what I try to show for this? Oh, where was it? This. No, I don't think you did. Yeah, just let me know what you mean by selector. Okay. We do have a little bit of a delay, so it's gonna be, you know, not quite the back and forth. Oh, okay. Gotcha. In the return type. You're putting me on the spot here. Let's see if I can answer that. Oh, thanks for letting me know that I froze again. God dang it. Yeah. Init socket return type. Oh, selector. So I think a selector is used. Actually, we can. The docs on this are honestly pretty good. A type that enables the process to wait for messages from multiple subjects at the same time, returning whichever message arrives first. So here's the thing. The way Gleam achieves basically type safety around Erlang is through subjects, which... So a subject is basically the PID equivalent, right? You start a new subject, you start a new... yeah, you can start a new process, and then a new subject is like a message for that to send to a process. I have a whole Daniel Lionel Gleam blocks where I play around with some of the OTP stuff. And here we have process, right? So you can start a process and execute a function, and that's it, right? All fine and dandy. Here, subjects are basically just messages, but messages with a type or over a type, right? So this would be a string. So you know when you receive message at the subject, which is just a message is going to be string, right? And if I wanted to receive messages, this is fine, right? Because both subjects are strings. But if I wanted to receive multiple subjects, as in messages, message types, and they're not the same type, this selector makes it so you can selectively map different subjects of different types to one singular type. This is probably just too convoluted. But here you can see this is an int message, a message of type int. It just sends a 1. This is a string subject. So you give it a selector which basically tries to get multiple subjects and types and merge them into one, which you can then match over in Gleam. Sure. Selector is basically the mailbox type, kind of, right? It enables your mailbox to receive multiple types of messages. A selector just says, hey, you can receive this and this and this, but it's Gleam, so we're bound by generic types, right? We need type. The compiler needs to know which type it's going to receive. So this is a way of telling the compiler how to, or the type system, how to handle and merge them into one type. But hey, whatever makes sense to you, it's going to work. Especially with a WebSocket, right? You might have so many different kinds of messages or types of messages you want to receive. So having all of that under one type would probably be quite the headache. So you want to split up all of these ways of handling different message types. Okay. Enough. I'm not the right person to explain this. I've barely scratched the surface myself on this. Okay. So, we're going to initialize the WebSocket in the browser extension, right? Now, luckily, browsers have this built in, right? I'm just going to restart the screen capture. Yeah, you're welcome, Barry. So we're starting the server. It's great. Happy. Now we need to create a WebSocket in the browser extension that connects to this. And then in here, in its socket, we can just echo like, yo, hello, new client. I don't know. And then just echo the WebSocket connection, which we can't do. Oh, this is why they, in the Luster example, they just returned nil, right? They just return this. Here, they just return nil and none because they don't actually use anything here. But in the Luster example, you would actually use this. In the Luster example, you initialize an actor and then have some selector. I don't think I quite understand the selector. I understand the selector, but I don't understand it in this context specifically. Upgrade a request to handle WebSockets of the request format. The onInit method will be called when the actual WebSocket process is started, and the return value is the initial state and an optional selector receiving user messages. The onClose method is called when the WebSocket process shuts down. Now we do want to receive user messages because, for example, if we query an element with our API, we want to return something about this element. Or we create a tab and we want to return the page ID, for example, right? So it is going to require some communication back to this WebSocket. But so right this second, like, we're just gonna worry about that later, you know? That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, server sent events. Yeah, it's bi-directional communication, right? Because we're gonna control the browser, not in the browser extension. The browser extension is just the proxy. But we want to have this Erlang actor, OTP actor, that we send a message to, and then it goes through the WebSocket to the browser extension, and the browser extension returns some value. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay, so for right this second, it's gonna do this. Like, very boring. Very boring. Why is that? Okay. Okay. Loop socket value. Right, so this is gonna want, man, this is complicated. So whatever we return as the initial state, it will use as a generic over the handler, which makes sense. So we can pattern match over message connection. Let's just shorten these names. But we need to give it a name, right? Or not a name, a type, right? So we're just gonna make up this type, or this message type, okay? And then it's gonna be generic over type message. Right, chat socket message. And then it's gonna be chat sockets and then browser session. Okay, actually let's do this. So value is gonna be browser session. And this is gonna be browser message. Okay, so this needs to return be of return type browser session because that's the initial state. Well, we actually need to give it some sort of value. Ping. What am I doing wrong? Browser session ID. Isn't this state? I thought this is the state. Um, wait, how did I lose? What am I? What? What is happening? What am I doing? Oh, it's just a typo. Okay. I legitimately thought I'm going crazy. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, we're fine. And then this is just gonna be. Oh, just kidding. I thought this was gonna be like. Oh God. Um, binary custom text. Whew. Yeah, this. I'm way over my head right now. Um, so this is pretty simple. We just stop. That's fine. Missed dot closed. Right. Uh, war. Hmm. Oh, and then we just say screw you if it sends us binary data. We just say okay, never mind. That's fair enough. Now, what is custom doing? Curious. Very curious. So text is pretty simple. This is just JSON. What is client message to JSON though? Hmm. Not sure. Hmm. There's not really any documentation on this. Okay, fine. Then right now I'm just gonna ignore it. What is client message to JSON? Okay. We're just gonna handle received custom message, right? We're just not gonna do anything with it. Now, right here, we receive a message, a string. Which we need to pass to then handle. So this would be the part where we receive an action as a string, right? And JSON, right? So this browser message, so we need to decode browser message, right? Which right now is pretty easy. Um, actually, we need a JSON decoder for this. Right. Um, runtime message decoder. Yeah. Server message decoder, which is just a decoder. Okay, forget what I just said. We can generate this ping, and then we can do JSON dot. Oh, we need Gleam JSON. Um, Gleam JSON. Oh, and I'm frozen again. Thank you, Barry. Have fun at work. Okay. Yes, so we have ping. So we should be able to just JSON pass this. Let's just pray. Okay. Import Gleam JSON. Gleam.pass message browser message decoder, which we then also need to do something with. Right. Got message. Da da da. Something. Yeah, that was stupid. Echo run echo message as runtime message. Okay, this capturing is getting really annoying, unfortunately. Very sorry about anyone being affected by this. And then what are we doing with connection? Nothing really. So we're just gonna ignore it for right now. Okay. So we're just gonna, you know, attempt to connect to this through the browser extension. And then it's gonna go wrong in all kind of ways, and then we're just gonna work our way backwards and attempt to fix it. So, JavaScript to connect in a browser extension, background service worker to a WebSocket, and send a simple text message. Okay. Okay, so this is getting. I am like this close to writing the extension just in pure JavaScript because it is so much wrapping code. It's actually insane. But yeah, we'll talk about this later. Right. Connect WebSockets. And then, yeah, we'll just do this. External JavaScript background FFI.js. That WS is connect WebSocket. And then we need HTTP localhost 1234/JS. Okay. And then we need to send ping. Right? I think we do. Okay. We just need to run this. Okay, we have an issue. Connect WebSocket. Connect WebSocket. Gotcha. I have zero idea what this is gonna do. Oh my god. It's doing stuff. That's crazy. So I could refresh this. Okay. That's pretty cool. Success. Now we just need to send information. How do we send? Oh, send. We did send something, but it didn't go through. Could not decode text message. The message. Okay, let's refresh. Could not decode text message. The message was ping. Oh, did I feel like that should have worked. What the heck? I think the JSON part might be the issue. Yeah, that's not correct. No, a quick intervention. Some know that I have a 3D printer, which I just had running next to me. And I printed a clothes hanger. Which I'm just gonna get out. Oops, almost fell off. So this beauty should unfold. Oh wow. Holy shit, that works. Me every time something comes out of the 3D printer. Look at this. That is so cool. Okay. Nice. Stay hydrated. Okay. Moving on. So I don't think we can decode this as JSON. Hey Schmo, I am working on a, well, as the title suggests, browser extension, browser automation, which works through a browser extension. And right now we're setting up a WebSocket to communicate between the server, like an Erlang controlled server, and the browser extension, which receives the command to execute in the browser. And this is what hopefully the API is going to look like once we're done. Okay, now you should see my screen correctly. And I just 3D printed this clothes hanger, which is pretty cool. But yeah, basically we're working on this part. Starting the server, setting up a WebSocket on both ends, client and server. And it's kind of working. This actually works correctly. But what I need to do is construct the JSON correctly first. As in, like right here, I can't send ping. I need to do json.stringify ping, which is going to add additional quotes around it, or at least it should. And then that should in turn decode correctly on the backend. So refresh. And instead of could not decode text message, it closed, opened a new connection, and correctly decoded the message. That is very cool. I'm not gonna lie. That is very cool. Wow. Okay. Great. Great. Now I'm not sure on the other end, right? Like, how do I send message to this guy through here? And I'm kind of scared that I might have fundamentally mistaken this WebSocket situation. That's a thinker. Like, we can receive messages from the browser extension, but we want to go the other way, right? We don't want to go browser extension server. We want to go server browser extension. So what we need is a registry, I think. Right? Like, we need a registry of connected clients that we can then send messages back to via just a post request. Is that possible? Because I'm not sure I see any example of this here. Not here. Here. I kind of do. Because we create this subject, this process. Or in this Lustre example, it starts a server which is ultimately just a process that you, of course, can send messages to back and forth. Okay, interesting. I think we need to go to the drawing boards. And think about exactly how we would want this to work. Right. Let's say this is a JavaScript backend. How would I send back a message to the browser extension through the WebSocket through on the server side? So I guess there is a way to do this. Maybe I just have to dig deeper into Mist. Let's see. Examples. No, I'm sure I'm making a fool out of myself because I'm not familiar with this kind of stuff, but nothing I can do about it. Honestly, it sounds more like, yeah, like Barry mentioned, SSE, right? Which is very bi-directional. Very unsure how to do this. Very unsure. I think this is a good time to kind of just let that stand and file an issue with the code action that we discovered in the previously, which was broken for us. Okay, let's do that instead because I'm actually kind of stuck on this issue, so I'm just gonna have to consult a lot of GPT and yeah, it's just not very interesting for the stream, just me sitting here thinking. So let's file the issue. Code action. What should we call this? So actually, let's first try and reproduce the bug. So I'm just gonna make a playground. CD playground. Gleam add mist. Now I'm gonna open the playground. I am going to import mist, copy the code, copy this code, let's just copy this for sake of completion. Gleam add Gleam HTTP. What softs here? macOS, Sequoia. Let's just copy this for completion's sake. Hello. Regarding the code action generate function, I just ran into an issue where I generated the following functions for a missed WebSocket. So we need to get this example running. Serve. We need this parameter. And now if I actually process.sleep forever. Process. Now if we generate the function here, see, this is so weird. It generates mist correctly, but not WebSocket. Like this should be mist, and then it works fine. It's so weird. So this code if you initialize a fresh Gleam project and install these dependencies, then add this code to the main module. a mist with a WebSocket. Here's how to reproduce it. Initialize a fresh Gleam project, install these dependencies, then add this code to the main module. If you now hover over loop chat socket and execute the generate function code action, this is incorrect though. Since there is no module named WebSocket. If you change WebSocket to Mist, it works fine though. So for some reason it adds the wrong module for the WebSocket message parameter. Okay. If you have a chat socket and execute the generate function code action, it produces this function. This is incorrect though, and there's no module named WebSocket. If you change WebSocket to Mist, it works fine. Some reason it switches up Mist and WebSocket for the WebSocket connection parameter. Bug in generate function code action generates incorrect module import. Incorrect module import for parameter. Bug and generate function code action. Hello, regarding the an issue when I generated functions for a Mist application with a website. Here's how to reproduce it. Initial fresh Gleam project and install these dependencies. Then add this code to the main module. If you now hover over loop chat socket, yeah. Okay. That works. Or, well, doesn't work. Okay, so this is cool. This is cool. We did this. We did this. Next stream. Today's the 7th, so it's gonna be the 14th. Next stream we're gonna figure out bidirectional communication not just browser extension WebSocket server. So that's the plan for next week. We can now decode messages coming from the browser extension, but as I already mentioned, the messages are not going to come from the browser extension, at least initially. So we're going to need a more professional setup here with the server, maybe a registry that registers the WebSockets coming in or connecting that we can then send messages to directly. Right. So I don't know if I like, can I send back a ping? Like, how would I do that? You know? Sends a text frame across the WebSocket. Okay, let's just try something out real quick. Let's just try something out. Because this is what they do here as well. Mist.send text frame connection. Right? Connection. Text frame. Whoops. Connection and then some string. Connection Pong. I don't know. And then we just assert okay. Because in the WebSocket we do log if we receive any messages, right? Right here. Okay. So let's restart this rebuild automatically, and all we need to do is refresh. Oh, dang. Okay. Might be easier than I thought. Yes. Yes. Okay. It's almost anticlimactic because that's pretty straightforward. Like a WebSocket connection. It's just gonna have a socket. Transport. Yeah, like we can figure all of this out. And then yeah, we can send messages back to the initial instance. Especially if in the init function we store the connection coming in. Yeah, cool. So yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. And I'll see you in the next one.